Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos issues a royal decree. The Sultanate and China discuss developments of relations in trading, investment and economy field. And 6 traditional dumping waste areas are replaced by 1 geometrical dumping area in the Governorate of Dakhiliya. Those are the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has issued a royal decree number 33/2015, amending some provisions of the civil status law. Article 1 states that the amendments attached to this decree shall be applied to the civil status law promulgated by Royal Decree number 66/99. Article 2 cancels all that contradicts with the attached amendments or contravenes with their provisions. Article 3, this decree shall be published in the official gazette and shall come into effect from the date of its issue. Regional and international issues of mutual concern, as well as various developments witnessed in the region, topped the discussions of His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, when he received His Excellency Jiang Ming, Chinese Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, and his delegation within the framework of the 9th round of strategic consultations between the foreign ministers of the Sultanate and China. The 9th round of the strategic consultation session between the foreign ministries of the Sultanate and China was held in Muscat today. The Omani side was chaired by His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamid bin Hamoud Al Busaidi, Secretary General of the Foreign Ministry, while the Chinese side was chaired by Jiang Ming, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs. The session discussed various aspects of the bilateral cooperation between the two countries and means of enhancing them, particularly in the trade, investment, cultural, economic and other areas that serve the interests of the two friendly countries and people. They also exchanged viewpoints on regional and international issues of common concern. They stressed the importance of supporting all peace efforts being exerted to strengthen cooperation and understanding, as well as maintaining peace and stability in the world. Cooperation in the parliamentary aspects concerning the Shura Councils of the Sultanate and Iran topped discussions of His Excellency Khalid bin Hilal al-Mauli, Chairman of the Shura Council, and the Iranian delegation led by His Excellency Dr. Kazim Jalali. They also discussed ways of developing their relations. The Public Authority for Investment Promotion and Export Development, ITHRA, organized a seminar today on the International Competitiveness Report published by the World Economic Forum. The seminar targeted media men, especially those interested in economy, and has highlighted the importance of the report published by the World Economic Forum and how to read the indicators of the report based on which countries' competitiveness is ranked. The report is one of the key references used by countries in developing the strategic and development plans. It also serves as reference point of international investors and businessmen. The seminar was held at Grand Hormuz Hotel and presented by Izan bin Qasim Al Busaidi, Director General of Researches, Studies and Automated Services in ITHRA. Omani Hajj or Pilgrimage Mission starts its works to serve Omani pilgrims heading to sacred lands in Saudi Arabia, while in Al-Madinah, Al-Munawwara and Mecca, the Omani Hajj Mission will look after Omani pilgrims and supervising their performance of the rituals smoothly and easily, in addition to provide its services to other pilgrims. The head of the Omani Hajj Mission, Sheikh Isa bin Yusuf Al Busaidi, stressed that the delegations of the Hajj Mission are ready and prepared to serve the pilgrims. The mission comprises delegation of iftar and religious counseling, administrative and financial delegation, The delegation supervising the contractors, medical, the delegation of the Royal Oman Police, media and Scouts delegation. Still to come in our news bulletin, hundreds of successful knee joint replacement surgeries are conducted in Sur Hospital in the Governorate of South Sharqiya.
السلام عليكم. دوبيزل اللي تثقوا فيه في عمان صار اسمه أوليكس، وراح يظل أسهل وأسرع طريقة عشان تبيعوا أغراضكم أونلاين. حملوا تطبيق أوليكس، صوروا الغرض وحطوا الصورة. الإعلان مجاني، ما تدفعوا أي عمولة، والقبض من المشتري نقدا.
مع أوليكس البيع والشراء والأسهل.
Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. The Royal Army of Oman, RAO, celebrated today the graduation of the limited service officers. The graduation ceremony was held under the auspices of Major General Matar bin Salim al-Blushi, RAO Commander. The graduation ceremony was held at the Sultan Qaboos Military College on the military parade field in Muscat. During the ceremony, the graduates performed various military and training skills accompanied by RAO music. The chief guest then pinned the graduated officers with ranks and distributed appreciation awards to the top graduates. After that, the graduates chanted RAO anthem, took the oath of loyalty and chanted thrice, "Long live His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Said, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces." The data released by the National Center for Statistics and Information, NCSI, indicated that 72,424 pensioners were recorded in the Sultanate by the end of 2014, with an increased rate of 4.6% compared to the figures recorded in 2013. The retirement pensions logged in 2014 reached about 315 million Omani Riyals, with an increase of 8% compared to the figures recorded in 2013, which reached 292 million Omani Riyals. The number of insured persons who are active in the Workers Abroad system and registered in the pension fund reached 6,190 employees. The United Arab Emirates came first by recording the highest percentages of the Omani employees working there, with 68.6%. The lowest percentage was recorded in the Kingdom of Bahrain with 1.9%. The Omani Society of Astronomy clarified that it did not decide until now whether it was a meteorite or not, which fell in Wadi al-Harim in the Wilayat of Yanqul in the Governorate of Al-Dhahira. Witnesses say that they saw an illuminating body in the sky on the mountainous area in the Wilayah, which fell with an exploding sound. Within the series of theatre plays of the activities organized by the Ministry of Heritage and Culture, a theatre play was held under the title Philosophical Vision. He discussed the philosophical vision of human being and how it can be practiced in the daily life. To preserve the beauty of Omani environment and protect its soil and clean air, the Omani Holding Company for Environmental Services continued its work in the geometrical shaped in landfill areas instead of traditional dumping areas. 6 closed waste landfills areas are to be replaced by 1 geometrical dumping area according to international health and environmental standards. Waste trucks from various wilayas of the Governorate of Dakhiliya to the dumping area in the Wilayat of Manah daily will unload garbage using modern mechanism in order to limit leakage resulting from decomposition of waste fluids. A new system is applied in the geometrical waste area, transferring it to special treatment plants. The geometrical waste area is capable of handling around 400 tons of waste daily. Limiting traffic accidents by discussing dangerous intersections and detours, in addition to a number of topics concerned in the Governorate of Dhofar, topped the meeting of Municipal Council of the Governorate of Dhofar. The meeting was chaired by His Excellency Sheikh Salim bin Afait al-Shanfari, Chairman of Dhofar Municipality and the Municipal Council of the Governorate. The 7th Intellectual and Cultural Forum for the Gulf Cooperation Council Youth was concluded today at the Directorate General of Heritage and Culture in the Governorate of Dhofar. The concluding ceremony was held under the auspices of His Excellency Sheikh Salim bin Afait al-Shanfari, Head of Dhofar Municipality, in the presence of His Excellency Ahmed bin Salim al-Hajri, Director General of Heritage and Culture in Dhofar, with a number of officials and members of the delegations. The closing ceremony included a visual presentation on all activities of the 7th GCC Intellectual and Cultural Forum. Then the Chief Guest distributed certificates to the participants. Hundreds of successful knee joint replacement surgeries are conducted in Sur Hospital in the Governorate of South Sharqiya. The orthopedic department in the hospital contributed in facilitating such surgeries as well as reduce the waiting time for appointments. The Sur Referral Hospital was considered as a support for Hola Hospital to conduct such operations. Knee joint replacement surgeries are most common among the elders, where their knee joint gets under a lot of pressure due to daily life activities. On this regard, Dr. J. Shakla, Head of Orthopedic Department in Sur Hospital, had this to say.
In Oman, before a couple of years, the waiting period for patients needing total knee replacement was almost more than 3 years. To control this waiting period and to help the local patients who were forced to go outside the country because of this or to utilize other resources, the Ministry of Health, at the initiative of Dr. Mohammad Lami, the Chief of Services of Orthopedics at Khola Hospital, introduced this innovative program. And 2012 was a watershed moment wherein it was decided that regional hospitals will be starting specialized services, and Sur Hospital was selected as one of the hospitals to cater to North and South Sharqiya for total knee joint replacement surgeries.
Muscat securities market seems to be recovering. Here's a special report by Saida Tabinda Bukhari.
MSM 30 index closed today at 5.8 points with an increase of 51.61 points at the variance of 0.90% hike. Total number of shares traded today were above 57 million. Total number of bonds traded today were above 1.4 million. And total number of securities traded today were above 59.2 millions, with the total value of securities traded to be above 17.7 millions. Top 5 gainers based on their variance of share prices today were Al Jazeera Services, Al Sharqiya Investment Holding, Sharqiya Desalination, Al-Izz Islamic Bank, Ahli Bank, at the closing prices of 392 basis, 115 basis, 4 Riyal 545 basis, 70 basis and 200 basis respectively. Top 5 losers based on variance of share prices were Port Services Corporation at the closing price of 152 basis, Bank Muscat, Conversion Bonds at the closing price of 102.9 basis, Takaful Oman Insurance at the closing price of 108 basis, United Power at the closing price of 2 Riyals 995 basis, and Gulf International Chemicals at the closing price of 250 basis. Top securities based on value today was government bonds, whose value increased by 11.34%, and top securities traded based on volume was Renaissance Services, increased by 16.71% in its volumes. A green wave of recovery in the light of US market recapture has been witnessed in the global financial markets. GCC capital markets also continue to perform positively. All these new developments are intertwined. However, the investors still await the third quarter financial results from the listed companies, which are expected to support and determine the current state and the future direction of the market. Saida Tabinda Bukhari from Muscat Securities Market.
And finally, European governments are rushing to cope with the huge number of migrants moving across Europe. More details in the following report by Huda.
EU Commission Chief Jean-Claude Juncker unveiled major plans to force a bloc to share 160,000 refugees and ease the burden on border states from the worst migration crisis since World War II. As pressure mounted for an emergency EU summit on the issue, German Chancellor Angela Merkel urged the bloc to go even further, calling for a distribution of migrants with no limits on actual numbers. Underscoring the difficulties transit countries such as Hungary face, at least 400 desperate migrants broke through police lines at the flashpoint town of Ruski on Hungary's southern border with Serbia, yelling "No camp" as they scattered in all directions.
I do not want, Mr. President, to create any illusions that the refugee crisis will be over any time soon. It will not, and we have to know that. But pushing back boats from piers, setting fire to refugee camps, or turning a blind eye to poor and helpless people, that is not Europe.
Merkel, whose country expects 800,000 asylum claims this year and has said it could take 500,000 annually over several years, said Europe needed a binding long-term deal for the fair sharing of the burden. The migrants' plight has touched hearts around the world, spurred especially by pictures last week of the 3-year-old Syrian whose lifeless body washed up on a Turkish beach. In response to appeals for help from an increasingly strained Europe, Australia said it would take an additional 12,000 refugees from the Syrian and Iraqi conflicts, and several South American countries also agreed to help. Berlin said, meanwhile, it was open to a special EU refugee summit after the ministers' meeting and ahead of the next scheduled EU summit on October 14. Under the Commission plan, Germany would take more than 31,000 migrants, France 24,000 and Spain almost 15,000. France has already agreed to take that number, while Britain has said it would take 20,000 over 5 years. On the Greek holiday island of Lesbos, where around 20,000 people have been waiting in squalid conditions to travel to the mainland, a new processing center was set up on Monday, which handled some 14,000 people in just over 24 hours.
Now for the general weather forecast. Partly cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal and mountainous areas of the Governorate of Dhofar, with chances of cloud accumulation and scattered rainfall accompanied by hail over the higher mountains and the nearby areas. And the rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies. Winds will be northeasterly light to moderate along the coast of the Sea of Oman, while it will be southerly to southwesterly light to moderate along the rest of the Sultanate. Seas along the coast of the Arabian Sea will be moderate with a maximum wave height of 2 meters, and for the rest of the coast it will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.5 meters. This is the Sultan of Oman television. Before tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos issued a royal decree amending some provisions of the civil status law. The Sultan in China discussed developments of relations in trading, investment and economy field. And 6 traditional dumping areas are to be replaced by 1 geometrical dumping area in the governorate of Dakhiliya. And with that, come to the end of tonight's news bulletin from all of us here in the newsroom and the studios. Have a good weekend. Good night.